and welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell, Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Before I get started with the show, I want to thank TV 47 and Robert and Michael and all they do to help us put the show on. And I'm excited about our program today, as I am all of them. But this one today, this is the day we are having a program at the library, and our performer, Tommy Johns, is joining me today. Thank you for being here, Tommy.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, yes. Tommy's going to do our program in just a little while at the TV show, at the library, and thank you for coming early to do this.
Sure.
But Tommy is from Powder Springs, Georgia, near the Atlanta area, and drove over this morning to do this and the show, and we've had you several times at the library.
I think this is the 10th, maybe the 10th year. I was looking back before I got up, before I left the house this morning. I think I've been here 10 years, according to my calendar. So.
Well, you know he's good if we've had him back that many times.
I always tell people it's nice to be invited. It's wonderful to be invited back.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Well, tell us about yourself. You've been doing this at least 10 years, I know.
I've been performing as a magician since I was in college. I went to Samford University, and I started my freshman year. I learned how to do some magic. A guy named Buddy Gray, who's now the pastor of Hunter Street Baptist here in Alabama, was my mentor, and he taught me how to do some magic, and I loved it as a hobby. And then one cold November, he called me and said, "I'm sick, I've got a show tonight, I need you to go do the show for me."
Oh my goodness.
So I went into a room with 150 kids in a church basement, and I did my first trick, and they all applauded, and I thought, okay, this is what I'm here for.
Oh, that's great.
And so that's when it started, about 43 years ago. And I did it as a hobby and then as a part-time job, supplement my earnings back when I had a real job. And then in 2001, I started doing this full-time. Wow. 2007, I started doing libraries, summer libraries in schools, and the rest, as they say, is history, I guess.
Wow, wow. Well, I would have guessed you'd been doing this long, just because you have so many programs and things on your website. Now, you do more than just magic.
Right.
I know. Yeah.
Right. I'm a comedy magician slash puppeteer slash educator. I do a lot of different things. I also do some just plain old public speaking. I do a little bit of that as well, and lead workshops for teens and a variety of different things. But yeah, the show is not just magic. I always tell the kids, if you like magic, we've got magic in the show, but it's not really a magic show. We've also got puppets and funny and all kinds of other stuff. So.
It is hilarious. I've seen your show, and your show is different every year. It's not the same show. That's
I write a completely different show every summer based on the theme, and this year's been kind of challenging because Alabama is celebrating, of course, its 200th anniversary, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the rest of the country is celebrating the 50th anniversary of the first person to walk on the moon. And so that has been the space theme, a universe of stories. And so this year, for the first time, I wrote two completely different, brand new shows, and it's been really exciting to learn two scripts and to keep them a little bit separate.
Exciting is probably not the word I would choose, but
I'm doing shows in 67 libraries this summer, and right at 30 of them are the Alabama show, so about half and half. And you know, I thought it was just surprising that the rest of the country wouldn't be celebrating the 200th birthday of Alabama. But
shouldn't everybody do that?
Exactly. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
But I am so glad that you're doing that. And there's your show, What's So Great About Alabama? A magical look at Alabama's amazing people, places, and history. I'm very impressed that you took the time to do this just for us in Alabama.
Well, I have to tell you, I've got a little bit of a selfish motive. I plan to put this into my school show rotation. And I built it in such a way where I've got broad categories like these are the things that make the state great. These are the people that make the state great. These are the inventions that make the state great. And so I'm going to do a plug and play type thing. So I'll be able to do a similar show in Georgia with the same script, but we'll have different people in the biography section, different inventions. And of course, I won't be able to brag in Georgia that we helped put man on the moon. And when I say we, I grew up in Alabama, so I'm not some interloper coming in from out of state talking about y'all being a great state. But I can talk about it with the possessive pronouns that we really are a great state, and there's a lot to be proud of here. I mean, our history is not perfect, and I don't think you'll find a state whose history is perfect. I had a couple of other school show and library performers, when they found out that I was going to do a show about Alabama history, they said, no, you don't want to get into that. But there's enough positive. There's so much positive that I could have gone an hour and a half, but nobody wanted an hour and a half show.
Sorry.
So I was able to keep it to 45 minutes, but I did have a lot of great stuff to choose from. And you'll get a chance to see that in the show today. And if you come to the library at 10 o'clock, you'll be able to see that. So.
Yes, great. Well, let's go ahead and look at the rest of the slides. I know we looked at a few of them. Oh, and who are these children?
These are some kids from the Tuscaloosa Library. The Tuscaloosa newspaper was there, and when I've got probably 24 pictures like this of crowd shots. And when people ask me, what do you do? I ought to keep this picture in my wallet and say, this is what I do, because I really feel like my job is to entertain and educate, and I think you can do both at the same time.
Sure.
And so I love that about my job, making kids laugh, making kids smile and point. And one of my favorite comments is right before the big reveal of a magic trick to hear from the audience, "No way." Because they know what's about to happen, but they know it can't be possible. So yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Well, that is so neat. And there you are. There's what's so great.
Right, that's Roosevelt Rat is the star of every show that I do. I tell the kids there are two things that I do in every show, no matter what my costume, no matter what the subject, no matter what the topic. Two things I always do. I always talk about books, and I always introduce my good friend Roosevelt. As a matter of fact, there are a couple of Alabama librarians, when they call me to book me for the next summer, they'll say, "Now the Rat's going to be in the program, right?"
Oh, yes, he's got to be
And
there.
when I say yes, they say, "Well, good, because there's no reason for you to come if he's not going to be here." So.
But you've got several more. You've got Roosevelt Rat, and I know one of those pictures was Petey
the Possum. Petey the Possum. Claudia the Hippo is an astropotamus. She's dressed as an astronaut.
Wow.
She's in my space show this summer.
Okay, yeah.
And so Petey is, as being one of the animals who's native to Alabama and has quite a few different distinctive things about him. He's the one that helps me tell about the fantastic firsts and the fun facts of Alabama.
Oh, okay.
The different inventions, the fact that, for instance, the first open heart surgery was here in Alabama. The first 911 call was made in Alabama. There are quite a few things that make Alabama #1. And so Petey, because he's the only local animal with a pouch, for instance, with a prehensile tail. He seemed like a natural fit to help me tell the kids about what makes him distinctive and what makes Alabama distinctive. So.
Great. Well, we're going to pause for a commercial break and come back and talk some more with Tommy about what's so great about Alabama.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Things feeling a little uneven at home? Ox Foundation Solutions will fix your uneven concrete sidewalk, driveway, or basement in no time. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room, to surgery, to cancer treatment, to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by and see us today. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Tommy Johns, who is our performer today from Georgia, and he's doing a program called What's So Great About Alabama. Now, tell me how you put this show and then all of your other shows together. You don't just go to the internet and Google What's So Great About Alabama. You have help. And
I've got I guess a team of people that I work with. Nobody works for me, but I've got a team of people that I work with. I find that collaboration, as a matter of fact, I'm lecturing at a national convention for family performers later this summer with my best friend from Mississippi, a guy named Dorian LaChance. And we're doing a lecture called We Are Smarter Than Me. the idea that collaboration is really important. And I really believe that collaboration is the best way to get anything done. But as you know, the libraries and the national group, the cooperative CSPL, whatever it is,
Right.
they come out with a theme for every year. So next year's theme is Folktales, Fairy Tales, and Fables.
Yes.
Imagine Your Story is the title of it. And so I already know what we're doing. We've already started working on next summer's show. And we've got a couple of ideas for the next year, which is animals, Tales and Tales. And so I'm always thinking about the next show, which is part of it. But very intentionally work with Dorian, and then we've got a brainstorm group that, that I work with mostly through Facebook, but I'm actually personal friends with these guys. We do some brainstorming. My wife is a media specialist, a librarian, and so she helps me with the book selection and the book tie-ins. Most of the time, there are a few exceptions, but most of the time I'll find a book that fits the theme that really grabs me for some reason.
Yes.
And then I'll build an illusion or a puppet skit or a game around that book. Now the Alabama show was a little more challenging because there are not a lot of fiction books or picture books that deal with Alabama that aren't souvenir books. So there's Goodnight Alabama, which was written just to sell to people in Alabama.
Sure.
But the Hardy Boys never went to Alabama, and Boxcar Children never went to Alabama, and so had they done that, I would have been able to do that the way I usually do. What I did here was I came up with 5 categories, 5 things that I felt like made Alabama great. Amazing agriculture, awesome animals, positive people, ingenious inventions, and a 5th one, which I can't recall right at this moment, but 5 different things. And so I started looking in those categories. What can I do? What books can I bring in? What illusions can I do? What puppet skits can I do? Oh, the Fantastic Firsts, which is which Petey the possum helps me do. And so, so that's how I built my show this year. Was I just collected a lot of books, read a lot about Alabama history and Alabama fun facts. There are some great, there's some really great books about our state, and so I use those not as much in the show as I usually do use books, but I will encourage kids, of course, to read. And we got 6 people that we're doing biographies on. I do a brief sketch of them. And we've got a matching game where we match up the biography with the person. That was a lot of fun. And so the really fun thing about the Alabama show is that there are people who make commercially available magic tricks for fairy tales and for last year was music, and so there are commercially available magic tricks for music, which was last year's theme. Nobody makes one for Alabama, and so everything in this show is completely original. I've either come up with it with my brainstorm group, or I took an idea from a book and adapted it so that the matching game, for instance, is a card trick. But I changed it into biographies, and I've got full-size little posters of the people in the biographies, and the kids help me match them. And we do talk about space. There is one segment in there where we talk about all the stuff that we've left on the moon, and we never would have made it to the moon if it hadn't been for Alabama.
That's true.
But all the stuff that we've left behind on the moon, and then there is one thing we've always brought back, and that's moon rocks. And so that's the game show portion. And if the kid today wins the game, everybody gets a bookmark, and the bookmark has the fun facts, some of the fun facts on one side. On the other side, it has a link to my website and a hidden link where they can get videos where they learn 5 really cool magic tricks. And so, but that's only if the kid wins. Now, here's the really weird thing. They've won every single time.
Every single time?
I'm not going to tell you it's rigged, but I'm going to tell you they win every single time.
Oh my goodness. I have to tell you, that's one thing I love about your program is the children are always active and involved. You have volunteers, or the whole audience is a part of it. That is so much fun, and the kids just love it. Yeah, and I love that you promote books. Of course, at the library, that's what we like to do. But Tommy, it's great. You'll send us a list of books. So we're going to put those books out on display, the ones that we have, the biographies and things. So when your program is over and they I come upstairs and I say, oh, do you have a book on Jesse Owens that he just talked about? Yes, we do, right here. So that is always so nice. I love that. And the fact that y'all work together, that is wonderful. And I know a lot of the performers, when I go to the performer showcase, a lot of y'all are friends.
Right.
Y'all help each other out, recommend each other.
The showcases have been really good. I've had a chance to meet some people that I've only heard of from other librarians. It's also a chance for me to get to see some of the guys that are in my brainstorm group. You've met Barry Mitchell and Gene Cordova and Lee Andrews. Along with Dorian LaChance and a couple of guys from up north who don't get down here very often.
Oh, yes. Sure.
We have an opportunity to brainstorm, bounce ideas off each other. One of the things that we run into when you've got local friends is that then we have to decide which trick am I going to do and which trick are you going to do, because we might end up in the same library.
That's true.
And we had that with Gene Cordova, for instance. This year there was a routine he wanted to do and one that I'm doing in my space show. As it turned out, the libraries that we're in together are in Alabama, and so I'm doing my Alabama show. He's doing his space show, and we're not
good. We're having Gene too.
Oh, good.
Yes,
you're gonna love what he's doing this time. So
it's so nice that y'all work together, because it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be that way. And I love that a lot of the programs you do. I know I looked on your website, which is awesome, has lots of information. I looked at some of the different programs, some of the ones you've had past summers, and you're still doing those, which is great because schools have you in. But you do one on reading and on simple machines. I was just amazed. That's a science program.
That one is the only one that has taken a really different path from the rest of them. That one happened because my son was in the 5th grade, and the teacher was a very creative teacher, and she sent an email out or sent a note home with the parents. This was before everybody had email. Sent a note home from for the parents and said, we're trying to do a thing on simple machines. Is there anybody that would come to school and help us build some large-scale simple machines, something bigger than the classroom? And I volunteered, and nobody else did. And so I had some time. I was I'm a bit of a woodworker, nothing really fancy, but I put together a 1-hour show on simple machines. We built a 12-foot long lever. We lifted a 50-pound bucket of rocks with a finger by using leverage. We put a pulley together. We wheel and axle, all that sort of stuff, and I did that and I put it on the shelf. I did it one time, I put it in my basement, and 2 years later I was meeting with a friend of mine, and he said, that would be a great school show. Why don't you pull that out? We'll talk about it. So at that point I collaborated on a show that I'd already put together, and we turned it into a 45-minute assembly program, and it's a great introduction to simple machines, or a great review of simple machines. And it's basically what a classroom teacher would do if a classroom teacher had a 12-foot lever and a 50-pound bucket and all the stuff to put that together. And so that one has been a really popular one. As a matter of fact, that is one of the few shows that I have written that I have sold to other performers. And so there's a guy in Texas that does my show. There's a guy in California that does my show. There's a guy in Australia that does the Simple Machine show, because science even translates across cultures.
True. It does.
And so and I think in Australia they only have 5 simple machines. They don't recognize the screw as a simple machine. It's actually an inclined plane wrapped around a cylinder. But you know, that's okay. Cool. When we throw a shrimp on a Barbie, it means that we're putting crustaceans on a doll. So it doesn't make any sense. So.
That is so neat, and I love. I know you look at the standards that the schools teach, and so if you're a teacher looking for a program to reinforce, like either review or reinforce or introduce that, what a fun way to do that.
It really is. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of those things where there are schools that have me every year to introduce. They have me in every year to do that show.
Yes.
And they have done that because it's been really effective. Because I give them hooks to hang lessons on. You were a teacher, so you know that if you can tell the class, now you remember when he did so and so. Oh yes, and so there's this real big visual in everybody's head, and it really makes a difference. It's much doing is so much more effective than thinking about how something might be done or having something described to you. And so being able to do it, and I use a lot of volunteers. Matter of fact, the kid that lifts the 50-pound bucket is a volunteer from the audience. We bend a quarter. We do some things that are just impossible for people to do if it weren't for simple machines. So
how neat. Well, we're going to pause for another commercial break, and we'll be right back to talk with Tommy.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Things feeling a little uneven at home? Ox Foundation Solutions will fix your uneven concrete sidewalk, driveway, or basement in no time. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by and see us today. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Sweat running down my back.
Hello and welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Tommy Johns, who is our performer at the library today, Monday, and you'll be able to see this program during the week, but we're excited about having Tommy come to the library today. And just before your program, Tommy graciously has given us 5 or 10 minutes, I think, to promote or to have Amanda Bolton from Pinecrest School. Pinecrest is a school here in Sylacauga. They are 3rd through 5th grade. Every year, the 4th grade does a wax museum project where they dress as some famous person from our state of Alabama, and they have a little script that they write, and they dress up. They have to research and make a poster or some props, and they have a wax museum day where they present what they've done. So cool. We've enjoyed working with those students for several years. They're in the library getting books and pictures and printing out things. Well, this year they wrote a grant. They're one of the bicentennial schools, and the grant is helping them to have these books published, or what, bound, I'm not sure what you call it, but this is the ABCs of Alabama. This is for younger children. These are the copies that are coming to our library, so you'll be able to check these out. They're putting some in the school libraries, but this is the ABCs of Alabama, and this is fun. It's got J is for Jim Neighbors from Sylacauga, M is for Marble, of course, that's what we do. Then they've done famous Alabamians and athletes, famous Alabamians, musicians and performers, famous Alabamians past and present. And this has lots of pictures of the kids in their costumes. A lot of the artwork, or I think all the artwork, was done by the students, or they're snapshots from field trips. So I love that this is the children's work.
I was looking through those before the show, before this show,
yes,
and really impressive. The amount of information that's in there,
yes,
plus the fact that these kids obviously took it very seriously. The ones that have the actual photographs of the wax statues,
the wax museum.
The costumes are great, and I think probably my favorite one was the kid who dressed up like Randy from the group Alabama, and had the beard. He had the beard down pat, had the beard and the guitar. He was ready. So.
Oh, that is so fun. They've worked so hard, and we are very grateful for them to be able to get the books in our library. I may have to check these out first before anybody else gets a hold of them.
I was excited that you were going to include this as part of the program today, so that I would have a chance to meet them, and it's just such a great idea. I've heard of wax museum exhibits like this before, but this will be my first time to meet some kids who've done it, so it'll be great.
I'm excited. Well, they chose your program because it's what's so great about Alabama. It just ties directly into what this is about. That's great. Let's see, where else are you going to be traveling this summer?
Well, my schedule is on my website. I'm all over Alabama and Georgia. I think the farthest I'm traveling from home is probably Tomorrow I'm going to be in Sulligent and Hamilton and
Yes.
in Winfield.
Western.
But I'm also in North Alabama and South Alabama. I'll be back in Middle Alabama at Pike Road and a couple more places in the Birmingham area. So I'll be traveling a good bit. This is the busiest summer I've ever had.
That's great.
And in addition to a bunch of libraries, I've got 2 multi-day church events that I'm doing for a church in Tuscaloosa, Valley View, and for a church in Georgia, up near Gainesville. And then I'm doing a magic camp, which I do almost every year. I've been doing as many as 7, as few as 1 magic camp where I teach kids magic. And for 15 hours, 3 hours a day, 5 days that week,
fun.
I'll be doing magic camp. Kids will come, and at the end of the week we do a big show for the parents, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, great. Well, you mentioned your website. What is your website? It is so easy to navigate, and
Well,
I
thank
got
you.
lots of information. What
Thank
is
you.
yours?
It's www.tommyjohnspresents, that's TOMMYJOHNS, presents.com. And just click on the links. You'll see the schedule. You'll see the types of shows that we offer and what we're doing this summer. And so I'd love for people to, we've already been in Mumford, so we've probably been in the closest library to you already this summer. But if somebody misses this morning's performance, they want to catch it, or if they're traveling, they might be nearby. It'd be a fun. Libraries are always air conditioned, so in the summertime, it's a good reason to get inside.
It's all free. It's just so much fun. I tell you, when I mentioned your website, it was so easy to navigate, and I found so much information about your programs for children, which some of these I've seen because you have a brand new program every year, the science program, and then you do programs for teens also.
I do. I've got 2 main programs that I do for teens, and a couple of programs that I don't do as often. But the 2 main ones that I do, one of them is a magic workshop, where depending on how many years I've been doing it at your library, I'll either do a basic magic workshop or one with just cards or one with just mind reading. It's an hour long, and it's a lot of fun. I've been doing that for a number of years.
I feel like with teens, it's not so much a show as a workshop, more hands-on.
Right. I have to do 15 minutes of real magic, though, to prove that I'm not just somebody's Uncle Billy who knows how to do a magic trick. Hey, what's this? I took off my thumb. You got to prove that you're a magician before they'll pay attention. But once you've proved yourself, they'll pay attention. They focus, and it's really good. My favorite thing to do, as much as I love the children's programs, my favorite thing is when I do the Teen Entrepreneur Workshop. It's called the Teen Boss Workshop. And the Teen Entrepreneur Workshop is where I sit with kids and I talk to them about being their own boss. 60% of people who are gainfully employed work for a small business or for themselves in the United States. And so you figure that you pass 6 people, you walk into McDonald's and you see 20 people there, 12 of those people work for a small business. And running a small business, I've run a small business ever since I was 11 years old.
Oh my goodness.
I cut grass for people, I babysat, I've done quite a few different things. I got a real job for a while, but I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, and it's not for everybody, but for those people that like it and want it, to have a heart for doing their own thing, it's great. And to have a part in encouraging kids and helping kids dream about what they can do is really, really wonderful.
I tell you, we are almost out of time, but just go to Tommy's website. It's wonderful. You can find out so much information. And I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming to the library. One thing I tell people about Tommy all the time is he's always fun. It's always a new show, a lot of laughs, a lot of audience participation, and a lot of promoting books.
Always,
and we thank you for that. And thank you for joining us on Library Connection.